Adaaaaaaa! What's going on, Rope Break family? Jean-Paul Eck here on December 31st, 2019, the last day of the year, last day of the decade. Hopefully, you're all getting ready for partying tonight, going out to eat, just doing some fun stuff. And of course, we're doing that too, but we always got to get the reviews done for you guys. Monday Night Raw was its own party, in its own right last night. It was a decent show for what they gave us. Of course, we had the Lana Lashley wedding, which was just a giant clusterfuck. We all knew it was going to be. It was awful. Of course, it was the main segment, and of course, that's what they had to close out not only the year, but the decade for WWE. That's what they want their lasting image to be, and it was definitely a lasting image that I soon hope to forget. But before we get into the show, I just want to, of course, as always, thank all of our new subscribers, new fans. We just want to thank each and every one of you. It means the world to us, and we're just going to keep moving forward. So let's get started with the show. Raw opens up. Kevin Owens comes out, and he says that they're going to kick off this New Year's show with some fireworks. And he said, here's why. And we see highlights of Kevin Owens and the Seth Rollins rivalry involving Rey Mysterio, Joe, the AOP. So it just kind of shows and just really sets it up that this is going to be a six-man tag, probably for the first Raw of the new year. And, more just typical WWE. Like, this is just how they book. They have a formula, and they just plug in new guys each and every so weeks. It's like, oh, it's the OC versus the Viking Raiders and Randy Orton. Now, 3 weeks from now, it will be, AOP and Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio, Kevin Owens, and Samoa Joe. So, it is what it is there. But at least this feud is interesting. I'd rather see maybe 2 or 3 feuds instead of one feud just to include, like, 6 men. I'd rather just see 2 or 3 feuds with those men broken up. But with all that being said, then he said that he comes out here each and every week and he gets his ass beat down, and sooner or later he's going to be taking one of them with him. So he says that, why don't they just come on out now, and he's, at one of these points he's going to take one of them with him, to the hospital after getting his ass kicked. So then he says that they're also attacking someone who he respects. He doesn't respect many people in this locker room, in this business. Everything he's done, he's been through, but one of those people he respects is Rey Mysterio. And he said what they did to Rey Mysterio really makes him sick. He blames them for Rey losing his title because, they beat him down. Rey wasn't 100% then going into that Madison Square Garden show. So then after he says that, they show some highlights of Andrade versus Rey. Then out comes Rollins in the AOP. Seth says that Kevin fails to see the big picture. He says it's people like Kevin who are at fault, for all of this, not Seth. He says that what he does is a sacrifice. This is what Seth is saying, that what he does is like he's sacrificing himself. He said, to be a leader. He says Kevin has left him no choice but for him to take force, and the AOP will enforce his rule. So then at that point, the AOP, they get into the ring. KO tries to beat them down. Same old shit we see every week. AOP beats Kevin Owens in the corner. And at this point, probably the highlight of the show, boom, Samoa Joe's music hits, and it's like, fuck yes. This is the only, like I said, the only saving grace from this. I love Kevin Owens, so I'm not going to say, oh, like this feud with him and Rollins ain't good and this and that, but it's like, just the return of Joe just outshines everything else, in my opinion. So Joe comes out, he throws down both members of the AOP, just fucking knocks them out, like they're done. He beats down Rollins in the ring, Coquina clutch, AOP then, after, they got getting thrown down, they get back up, they get Joe off of Rollins, then KO uses the chair to beat down AOP. At this point, just tons of security comes out. Total chaos. Everybody's beating each other up, grabbing each other. Then you get to that spot where you got all the security. They're holding AOP and everybody on the outside. KO gets on top of the turnbuckle, does a cannonball senton, whatever you want to call it, knocks everyone out. And that's how the opening segment goes off the air. So, like I said, Kevin Owens, it's the same thing every week calling out the AOP, but I understand, they're not going to have a blow off on this episode, but, this did more, and now you're getting Joe on the team, so this is furthering the storyline, and like I said, it's good. I like it only because all 6 men are legit. But it's like, what is I feel like maybe it should have been AOP who beat the Viking Raiders, and then they had the tag belts, and then, I don't know, have Seth, like, I like the power trip where, the heel faction has all the belts, but I don't know if you want to do that because it might not make sense storyline wise, but I need to know, like we know Seth's reasoning. He said he's doing all this, and he's trying to take out people who are going against his will. So clearly he's trying to rule Raw with an iron fist, and then to make it the place that he feels that will benefit everyone. And if you're not one of those who agree with him, he's going to wipe you out. So we kind of know like what his purpose is, but it's just what do you get in the wrestling? You fight for the championship. So it's like, where are they going? I know he tried to beat Mysterio for the belt a few weeks ago. I think it was maybe just last week, but that's what I mean. These shows blend together. You don't know week from week, but I just want to see some more direction from that. But like I said, Joe's legit, Kevin's legit, all these guys are legit who are in this storyline. So it's one of those things that I'm looking forward to it, but I feel like it's just going to be booked the same formulaic 6-man tag way, and only one or two guys are going to benefit from this. Unfortunately, Rey Mysterio is probably not one of them. With him dropping the belt to Andrade, to me, that's just the writing on the wall that, like, your time is up, Rey, sorry, but he's probably not going to sign a new deal. So, with that being said, they were like, all right, dude, you're out of here. Thanks for everything. Because if you're going to make something special, like, you really could have had, done something special with Rey and Andrade. And I understand Madison Square Garden is special with the history of WWE and everything that's going on there. It's definitely lost its appeal. Madison Square Garden, before when you said that MSG, everybody's ears and eyes perked up like, oh, MSG, something special is going to go on there. And that's what they did. But I feel like we're just not used to that because WWE and them, they don't have that tight relationship anymore. But I wish that they would have done something better with Rey, so we wouldn't have had, that we could have saw it, or they would have broadcast the show, or did something special, pre-taped it, and then been like, oh, here's a New Year's thing, but I know that if it was pre-taped, it wouldn't affect this Raw, but just do something that we could have saw it, besides seeing highlights, make it a little special for Andrade. Then we get Charlie backstage. She asks, Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe are in the locker room, and she asks them she asked Joe why he got involved. And Joe, if we said it once, we said it twice, we said it 1,000 times. This dude is not only legit in the ring, he doesn't not only look like a badass, he's probably one of the best promos in WWE. Top 3, I'm going to say, best promos in the whole company. He said that much like Seth, he wasn't given a choice. He said that Seth, and Seth was one of those guys who he made the choice by his actions to never be safe again. And, Joe just says how he's, like he was given no choice. Like this was the only, he said, like these guys, what did he say when he was on commentary? These guys are coming in. They're trying to rule with an iron fist. They're trying to take over, and you can't bargain. You can't reason. You can't try to talk your way out of it with people like that. There's only one way to deal with people like that, and that's to roll up your sleeves, tape your wrist, and kick somebody's fucking ass. And that's what Joe does. So, that's pretty much what he said here. KO says he knows a lot of bad people, but he knows that no one is better than Samoa Joe. And he said that, if he's glad that anyone has his back in this whole company, that it's Samoa Joe. And like he said, he's the baddest dude he knows. And he's like, oh, I mean that in the nicest way possible, utmost respect. So you can see like Kevin was trying to joke around like he was still scared of Joe, even though Joe was on his side. KO said that he feels like he's being asked to leave this building more and more this week than he has all year. And, they said they know after this attack, security wants them to leave and all that. So then they keep talking to Charlie. The security shows up. Joe looks at him, and he's like, if any of you guys touch me, I'm going to break your fucking fingers. He wipes the sweat off his forehead, flicks it on the one dude's face, and walks out of there like, he's such a badass. And they don't touch him. Because what are they going to do? Get their fucking hand broken? Day before New Year's Eve? No. Because Joe's a monster. They know he would have broke this dude's freaking hand off. So, And that was the one thing I like because we did not see Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe for the rest of the show. They were escorted out by security and done. It wasn't like they came in the main event, and I mean, I wish they would have, considering what we got for the main event. But it's not like, you had all 6 men from the storyline just like storm back in the building and brawl, and then security, and then like another huge, like, tackle everybody outside of the ring, suicide dive thing by Rollins this time or someone. We didn't get anything like that. It was just they were asked to leave, done. So now it builds the intrigue of like, well, what's going to happen now with the storyline? Because you didn't overexpose it in one episode. Now we want to see it next week. So that's something I really liked. Then we get into the first match. Probably, again, one of the best parts of the show. Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. Rematch from TLC. Another great TV match. Both men early out start force feeling each other out. Some kicks, trying to just like see who's going to slip up first. Headlocks, like I said, kicks. Murphy hits a Hurricane Rana, and then he mocks Black by doing his signature, sit down in the middle of the ring. A 1 count roll up on Black. More back and forth. Both men are very equal in control and skill up to this point. Like they said, Black, they actually on commentary were saying that Buddy Murphy is the stronger of the two, which, I mean, physically he looks like more muscular, so that's a decent assessment. So they say like the story is Murphy is stronger but Black is faster. Huge kick to the face by Black on a Murphy. Huge strikes by Black. Another kick to the face for a 2 count on Murphy, or for a 2 count. Murphy fights back, but he eats a kick while on the top rope. And then Black gets his head wedged in the turnbuckle, like when he's on the top rope, so he gets his head wedged. And then Murphy goes to do that spot where he kicked his head when he had it like between his legs on the top turnbuckle. But Black blocks that kick, and then he goes for like a kick of his own, but Murphy like knocks him into the top turnbuckle anyway. Then Murphy spine first into the post, moonsault by Black, kicks by Black, focus on the left knee. He hits kind of like a shining wizard kick, springboard moonsault for 2. Murphy sent back to the outside, or Murphy sends Black to the outside. I'm sorry, but he can barely stand at this point. Really selling the left knee. 2 huge kicks and 2 huge kicks, and Black knocks out Murphy. Murphy counters, sends Black into the corner, tries for a cheap leverage pin. He got his legs up on the top rope, but the ref saw it. I actually thought the match was going to end there. I thought it was going to be like a screwy finish, and then that would continue the feud. But I'm not a fan of 50-50 booking, but I thought like that's maybe something they would have done there. Then, where are we? Black is sent to the outside. Murphy dives over the top rope and hits Black. Black in the ring hits his top rope double knees back in the ring. Murphy hits the top rope double knees for a 2 count. Crowd chants, "This is awesome." Murphy was selling the knee. Again, up to this point, like really selling the knee injury. Murphy counters a super kick attempt and hits a power bomb for a 2 count. Murphy mocked Black by attempting Black Mass. He does a thing where he lifts him up with his foot under the chin. Black fights back, exchange of big kicks, chops from both men. Brainbuster onto Murphy for a 2 count. Murphy counters a Black Mass and tries for Murphy's Law. Black counters that with a roll-up and then hits a Black Mass. And then he doesn't go for the pin right away. He lifts him up again, another Black Mass, so 2 Black Masses. He must have had 2 finishers saved up and done. So, great match. I will say Juan, he texted me, he said, now they buried Buddy Murphy. What's going on with this? But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Buddy Murphy's now buried, losing twice and all this? The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Commentary was really selling Buddy Murphy. The King said, that he's a fan of Buddy Murphy. Obviously, Buddy Murphy's the heel in this. The King is the heel commentator. But, he said he's a fan of Buddy Murphy. They're doing their best to get Buddy Murphy over. And, like, if you do 50-50 booking, none of these guys get pushed. I would rather have it where Buddy Murphy looks strong losing, but Aleister Black, is, getting pushed to maybe challenge Andrade. And, I mean, I wouldn't even have him challenge Andrade, because what are you going to do, have him beat Andrade, and then Andrade's a loser? You just got to build this guy up, and then this is something where hopefully, maybe a Royal Rumble winner, because Brock Lesnar likes working smaller guys. Aleister Black's smaller than him. If you're not going to do somebody like Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Aleister Black's the perfect guy. So build him up, make him look legit. Buddy Murphy's one of those stories where he loses here. He gets in a feud with somebody else. He gets a win. Then he can meet Aleister Black down the line in like a year from now or something, where Aleister Black is, the WWE champion. Buddy Murphy's challenging, and then that would be the perfect story. Buddy Murphy finally gets the win for himself, to prove that he's better than Black, and to get the belt. So that's how I would do it. But like I said, great TV match. Then next we get AOP. They're yelling back and forth. Seth tries, he calms him down. He said that no one's kicking them out. And Seth said, they are right because they're going to, politely leave. Security shows up and Seth says they aren't needed. Thank you guys. And him and AOP walk off. So, they have it where like they're clearly the heels, the bad guys, everything in this situation. But Seth still tries to keep that like baby face, good guy persona. Like, hey, we're not going to cause trouble for the security. They're, we're good guys. They're asking us to leave, and that's just exactly what we're going to do. We're going to leave. We're not going to cause any trouble. Come on, boys, let's get out of here. So that's what they did. Again, like he's trying to keep that like they said, that Bret Hart, when he was heel, the end of his WWE run. That's really what they're trying to do here. Then we get Eric Rowan. He confronts Lana. She's getting ready for the big wedding tonight. So Eric Rowan comes. He's confronting Lana. He's like, oh, why didn't you invite us to your wedding? Him and whatever's in his little bird cage. And he's like, did our invitation just get lost, or what's going on? And Lana is just kind of looking at him like freaked out, doesn't know what to say, scared. She actually doesn't talk for once, thank God. And he's like, you know what? It doesn't even matter. We don't even care. And he starts walking away, and then he screams, and that's it. So, waste of 30 seconds of my life. Then we get Randy Orton, the injury update. I think that was in Hershey, PA, actually. So Randy Orton, they say like he was injured, really hurt his knee. Because remember, they were selling that knee injury. I'm not sure if it was the left knee as well, but it was the one knee and that Styles match and then the 6-man tag match and all that. So they said like he really messed up that knee at the house show. So they said there'll be an update on that later tonight. Then we get Eric Rowan versus a jobber. I did not catch his name, and I'm sorry, I do not care what his name is. He starts this match. He goes under the ring. Eric Rowan, instead of kind of running around like an idiot, he's starting to, wise up. He was just standing there at the corner, just like looking like which side is he going to pop out of. He sees he comes out from the side, and the guy starts to walk towards the cage, and he's like, like I know better. Everybody else got their ass beat when they did that. So he stops walking towards it, and he turns around, and of course that's where Rowan was coming. Rowan comes, huge, like a big boot. He beats this guy down, rolls him in the ring, does like a big, like a stinger splash, like corner, right in the corner. Then he slams him down. I don't know if he like did like a standing elbow drop, or he did some kind of like slam on him or something. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention. I was just waiting for him to hit the claw and done so I could put in my notes and we could move on. But that's exactly what he did. He hit that claw choke slam and done. Then we get, goes back to Lana. She's oiling, putting oil on her skin, getting ready for the wedding. And she says how everyone is obsessed with her. How could she blame them? Blah, 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 this and that. Again, don't care. So then we get Charlotte. She comes out and she announces her entry in the Women's Royal Rumble. And she says, oh, it's surprising, isn't it? And I actually liked like this whole promo and everything from Charlotte. I will say, normally I give my opinions after. I'll just say before. I actually did like this because it was kind of like a work shoot a little bit. And, this is like a good heel. Like, this is what I like Charlotte. She's a little annoying and still a little cringy on the mic. But this is definitely better than being a babyface. She's like, oh, it's surprising that I'm in the Rumble. I'm sure you guys didn't expect it. And she said everyone knows she's going to be in it. Like, cause she, was like, oh, yeah, no shit. Clearly I'm being sarcastic. She said everyone knows she's going to be in it. So why state the obvious? She said we could talk about how she's the 10-time champ, how she main evented WrestleMania, how she was the first woman to main event a pay-per-view. And and she said that she is tired about talking or she tried talking about how she's the queen and wants to, I'm sorry, she's tired about talking how everyone, how she's the queen, and she'd rather show everyone why she's the queen. And she says, bow down to the queen. And then out comes Natty. So we got a Natty and Charlotte match. And at this point, I was thinking, like, how many times can we see these guys wrestle? We don't care about Natty and Charlotte. Like, what was the point of this? But it was actually a decent match, and except for one little blemish in the match. But for a TV match between these two, it was actually pretty good. So back and forth early on, arm wringers, headlocks, takedowns. Charlotte rolls up Natty for a 2. Natty tries to fight back but gets knocked down. Natty hits a suplex and a clothesline for 2. Natty gets a Romero special onto Flair. She breaks out pretty early, which I thought was kind of bullshit. Flair never really sells anybody's offense, which I don't like. Well, at least like that, like submission, stuff like that. She seems to be like Superwoman. She breaks out, kicks Natty in the face for a 2. Natty sent into the corners. Like, she keeps Irish whipping her into the corners. Flair is then sent into the post, and Natty takes things to the outside, hits a suplex on the floor, rolls her back in the ring, a 1 count. Like I said, bullshit. You just got suplexed onto, I think it was on the ramp. So it was actually on, like, on the outside. So on the metal. It wasn't like it was on the, like, the padding on the floor. And either way, you're supposed to sell a suplex to the outside more than a 1 count. But Natty hits another suplex and kicks. Flair fights back. Natty beats down Flair in the corner. Flair gets a Boston Crab while on the top rope. So Natty was kind of like, if this is the post, Natty was like, stuck in between the post. So, like, when you do like a spear and somebody hits their shoulder on the post and they're kind of just like in between the ropes, that's how she was. And that Charlotte was on the top and she had her in the Boston Crab. So, like, it was a really cool, like, setup to it. And they were saying, oh, that's like how Ric Flair would do the figure 4, in the turnbuckle and stuff. So that was a really cool spot. Then at this point, the 24/7, parade, all those losers come running out, and it just took you out of the match. It's like, what was the purpose of this? They're probably going to do something like that to ruin the Royal Rumble. Like, the 24/7 championship is just, it's just such shit. It makes everything that it's near worse. Like, when it comes up on the screen, whatever we're seeing is lessened in value, and that's what it did to this match. And that's what I mean. Like, this match was pretty good, but then that stuff just kills it for me. So then soon we go to commercial. Back from commercial, Natty is up on the top rope. Natty shoved Charlotte down. Charlotte tried to knock her down. She shoves her down, hits a crossbody for 2. Then Natty hits a huge German suplex. Flair hits a suplex of her own. Natty hits a power bomb for a near fall. That was a really good spot. Or really good power bomb by Natty. Flair fights back, hits a spear for a 2 count. Flair counters a sharpshooter, hits a natural selection for a 2 count. It wasn't that good of a natural selection, but commentary said that because Natty was trying, like, kind of just getting up from the ground, and her head was like barely off the ground when Charlotte, tried to do the natural selection. Flair goes for a moon. This was a good spot towards the end here. Flair goes for a moonsault, but I know when you say Flair goes for a moonsault and a good spot, normally don't go, hand in hand. But she goes for the moonsault. Natty gets a leg up, like to kick her in the face, but Flair sees it and she, stops herself, lands on her feet, grabs the leg and goes for the figure 4. And then at that point, Natty rolls her up, and I thought it was going to be done. I'm like, oh shit, it's done. But, of course, Roman Reigns of the women's division can't lose, so she kicks out at 2. Then Flair locks on the figure 8. And this was maybe 15 seconds minimum, 20, 25 seconds max. She was in this. She was fighting. She was looking around. She was like, where's a rope? She was looking for rope break. Rope break's right here, honey. Don't worry. We'll always be here. But she was looking for the rope break, and it was like, she couldn't find it. She couldn't get power out of it, and she tapped. Not this instantly, oh, you locked in the submission? I better tap instantly because otherwise, my life's going to end. Natty tried to fight through it. She's the old school, which I don't know if that's just WWE telling them, hey, tap out, like, let's get this match over with, it's done. Or if that's the wrestlers that are like, I'm just going to tap out instantly. I don't know what the deal is. I know Natty is definitely the old school mind. And that's what I really appreciated. I think that's like one thing that made me like this match I mean, it wasn't a bad match, in the slightest. Like I said, it was a good, decent TV match for the women. But I think that's what I like this match more, because it had that, she tried to break out through the submission, which is something we don't see from the men or women, really anywhere. So then Charlie interviews Becky Lynch. Becky challenges Asuka for a match at the Royal Rumble. Now this is all kind of like official, blah, blah, blah. Even though we knew it for weeks and weeks and weeks. They had the build. I guess just nothing was made official. So now it is. And Becky said that this match was the match that she needed to even consider re-signing, because she said her contract's up. But she said, she knows that the WWE machine, because she was the golden goose, the golden goose comes with golden handcuffs. They wanted to keep her held back from fighting Asuka, but she said, hey, my contract's up, and if you guys want me, you guys want your number one wrestler in your whole promotion, your number one draw, she's like, you guys need to give me Asuka. So she said she's getting her at the Royal Rumble. She said people told her to just forget about Asuka. She says that she needs to see if being the face of the company is worth it. Like I said, all that stuff with the handcuffs, Again, she said being the golden goose, but now she has golden handcuffs. She says that she needs to prove that she can beat Asuka. That's why she wants this match. But Becky says she really doesn't know if she can. But she says that she has to try, even if it kills her. Which, obviously not going to get killed here in a wrestling match. But Asuka is one of the women. If you are, she's going to be the one to do it. I'm more than excited for this match. Like I said, the first match that they had at the Royal Rumble was legit. That match at TLC last year. The triple threat was legit. Asuka's so legit. You guys know I'm a huge Asuka mark. Asuka was one of the first t-shirts I bought at Empress of Tomorrow NXT. So I'm more than excited for this match. Obviously, I don't think they're going to give Asuka the belt, because I think the story is then she beats Asuka, and then she beat all of the people who, she doubted herself on, like, oh, could I actually beat them? Do I really deserve to be the champ? I think that will be the story where it's like, oh, Becky's finally can, hold her head up high, being the number one woman of this company. And then you have, boom, Shayna Baszler wins the Royal Rumble that same night, challenges Becky and says, you thought you beat everybody, you thought there's no one you were left to be scared of. Now you can be scared of me. So that's what I think they're going to do. I would love to see Asuka win it, but I don't think storyline-wise that makes too much sense, unfortunately. Especially with her still being the tag team champ, because hopefully they don't take the belts off them. Hopefully they try to build them up, but they haven't been doing a good job so far trying to build the tag team belts. The match, the TLC main event, if it would have went off without a hitch and was produced better, it would have been good, but it wasn't very good for what we got. So, moving on, we get another Liv Morgan promo, which unfortunately was a sign of things to come. I was real excited about Liv Morgan when, she was like, oh, I'm coming back, blah, blah, blah. Changed her social media, her pictures, and like her profile picture and stuff is just black. It's not a picture of her, so it's like, oh, gimmick change, what's going on? But then you see the same Barbie doll, just bimbo, just sitting in a bathtub saying, oh, I'm being true to me. I'm not going to, listen to what other people tell me I need to do, need to be, blah, 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 this and that. Shows her with the pink hair, just sticking her tongue out, all like the Liv Morgan that we know from, I feels like 2 years ago. I feel like we haven't seen Liv literally all this year. So, back like 2 years ago now with the Riot Squad. So, I was like, where's she going? I mean, she literally looks like Lana 2.0, which unfortunately, again, sign of things to come. Each and every week I was getting less and less excited about Liv Morgan's promos. And this week, I'm not even excited to see what happens next week. Once we get to the main event, I mean, it was like her new gimmick was birthed. And then as soon as, they debuted it, they boxed it up in a coffin, killed it, buried it dead. So, more on that later. Then out comes the OC. Styles says that they are the number one force on Raw. Highlights of, all their matches with the Raiders and Randy Orton. 6-man tags, like I said. Anderson says how the people were saying how the Viking Raiders were unbeatable. But they were able to beat them time and time again. And he said it was the first time that they beat them at Crown Jewel. Which I don't think Crown Jewel was just like a Royal Rumble. So like you throw them out of the ring. To me that doesn't count as you beat somebody. You just like eliminate them. I don't know if that really... Like that's when Asuka was in that Battle Royal on NXT. And she got eliminated. So people are like, oh, Asuka has a loss on her record in NXT. but that really doesn't count as a loss. But now in WWE, that counts as a loss, unless I'm fucked up. Like I said, I tried to forget Crown Jewel. Maybe it wasn't an elimination like that, but I'm almost positive it was. So I don't know why they keep saying, "Oh, we beat you at Crown Jewel." It should just be like, we're the #1 tag team because we won the Battle Royal. You didn't really like pin them at Crown Jewel. Anybody can be thrown over the top rope. So Gallows says then that with all that being said, that means that they should be the first to challenge these losers, for the Raw Tag Team championships. The Viking Raiders, they were expecting them to come out, but it's the Street Profits. And the Street Profits said how, that the OC did beat the Viking Raiders and that they do have that trophy. But what does that mean for them? Because on their debut night, now this is the Street Profits, on their debut night, they beat the OC. And then they're like, so what does that make us? And then Styles interrupts them and he says, lucky. And he said that if they mess with the OC, they're going to get hurt. The Profits mock them. And then Gallows says it's time to put up or shut up and get in the ring so we can kick your ass. So we get an impromptu match here between the OC, the Street Profits. It wasn't bad because neither of these teams are bad. The Street Profits are great. The OC is good, but unfortunately we just don't have that momentum, care about them. I like them because I like Gallows, I like Anderson, big, huge fan of Styles. So, I still like the OC and the Street Profits. They're great. They had all the momentum from NXT. That's slowly dwindling. They need to get away from the comedy skits a little bit. Some of them I do find funny, I will say. But I think they can afford to get back on track with more serious feuds. And unfortunately, there is no feuds for them to go against because there's no teams. So we have to see these same 3-4 teams just keep going back and forth. So speaking of that, we get back and forth between Ford and Anderson. To start things, Ford takes advantage. Drop kick for a 2 count, tags in Dawkins. Styles grabs Dawkins' foot once he starts making, hitting the ropes. The ref, somebody, I don't know if Ford or if Dawkins actually fell, like what happened, but the ref didn't see it, but he saw what Dawkins' reaction was or something. So then the ref was like, what happened, blah, blah, blah. They were like, oh, Styles. So the ref kicks him out. The ref's like, you didn't see shit, blah, blah, blah. AJ gets sent back. Then back from commercial, we have Anderson. He works over Ford. He fights back, but Anderson stops. His momentum hits a neck breaker for 2. Gallows tags in, huge punches on Ford, huge suplex onto Ford for a 2 count. Elbows by Gallows, more offense on Ford. Leg drop for 2. Gallows tries to get Ford to submit. Kind of has him like in a headlock. Gallows knocks down Dawkins, but Ford hits a drop kick to knock Gallows down. He tags in Anderson, but Ford, he quick manages to tag in Angelo Dawkins. Dawkins cleans house. Drop kick, uppercut, spinning forearm in the corner. Anderson hits a spine buster for a 2. They do a double neck breaker on the Dawkins. Looking almost like the Magic Killer. And then they go for the Magic Killer then. But Ford is able to break that up. Drop kick on Gallows. And then he does that drop kick on Gallows. And then dives on him from the outside. Dawkins hits the sky high. And then Ford hits the frog splash on Anderson for the win. So then after that, backstage, we have the Profits. They're celebrating after beating the OC. They said that they're the best tag team in the universe, the multiverse. They keep making jokes about Lana Lashley wedding. And then they said, they don't care about this wedding. They said about the bridesmaids, like, oh, where you at, blah, blah, blah. And then they just go to their famous, we want the smoke. So then after that, we get a 2-on-1 handicap match. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins versus Drew McIntyre. Again, these guys, instead of just using them in the tag team division, we got to use them in this. So Drew cuts a promo on them and says how they're the ones at a disadvantage. He asks the crowd, if he should be worried or if those 2 guys in the ring should be worried. The crowd obviously raises their hand for Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Drew said the people have spoken, the numbers are in, and they're screwed. Drew takes out both men. He hits a Claymore kick on Hawkins, Future Shock on Zack, stacks both men, pins them, and done. So, Again, Drew McIntyre is one of those guys who's hopefully being positioned to win the Royal Rumble. I hope so. He needs to be the face, the monster on Monday Night Raw. Samoa Joe versus Drew McIntyre. Kevin Owens. You have all these guys, faces you could build up, and to go against Drew McIntyre as your champion, and that's what they need to do. But you shouldn't be squashing Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. You can use them in the tag team division, but that's WWE for you. All right, and then moving on to the next segment, we get Randy Orton. He comes out. He's on crutches. He makes his way to the ring. He has to get. He's pretty much helping himself. They're really like. Spoiler alert: he wasn't actually hurt, but he's really hamming it up like this injury. Really trying to sell it. He has to get a little help getting into the ring. The crowd cheers for him. Randy says that wrestling's not a ballet. Accidents happen. He said that it kills him, that he needed help. The crowd cheers Randy, Randy. He mentions Edge, for having people coming out here making announcements, things having to retire like that. Like I said, so he mentions Edge. He said that he really messed up his knee, and the doctors told him that he'll be out a very long time. He might not even be able to return. Crowd is chanting, no, no, no. And I believe that it came out before the show that this was all a work. I think that was actually leaked. So I'm sure some of the people in the crowd and all that knew. He said that no matter what happens, he's going to make sure that someone at WrestleMania gets RKO'd. And at this point, AJ comes out and says that the next time he can fight Orton is Mania. And he said, is that what Randy Orton is saying? And Styles asks him if he's mad. He says, what's the Viper going to do? Strike. He's just like annoying. He fucks with Orton kind of like a 5-year-old. He's like, ooh, like he pokes him and he's like, ooh, 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 like, thinking like, oh, Randy Orton, like, what are you going to do? And then he's like, oh shit, like, I guess you are legit injured. Like, you're not going to try to hit me. You're not going to try to do anything. So he said Orton is going to sit there, he's going to take it. He said that fate has bitten Orton before Orton could bite fate or bite him. And he said he's going to give the people what they want, that he'll put his arms behind his back and he'll let the Viper strike. He yells for Randy to RKO him. He said, and then that's when he's like, oh shit, I guess you are really hurt. Then Styles says that, if that's what it's going to take, he'll wait until WrestleMania and put Orton in the calf crusher, tap him out, end the match, and end his career. He kicks away Orton's crutch as he's walking away, and then that's when Orton says, that's the difference between you and me, AJ. You're patient, I'm not. RKO, done. He stands up, starts slapping the knee that was supposed to be injured, like slapping it like, oh, it looks pretty good to me, does his Randy Orton shtick, on the ropes, raising his hands, everybody's like cheering it, loving it. The crowd's like, oh shit, like this was, he worked him over, he wasn't actually injured, So that was cool. If Randy Orton, if this was all like legit, Randy Orton was supposed to retire, he's a little boring. His, now his movesets are a little crappy. Most of the storylines he's in aren't the greatest, but Randy Orton is still one of those guys you don't want to see go. He's still legit. He still has that presence, still a legend, the legend killer. You don't want to see him go, especially to an injury like that. So, but do I want to see this match again at WrestleMania? Not really, because we didn't even do that. Randy Orton win, so then it's like, oh, they just traded wins back and forth at WrestleMania. Because, I don't know what the point of that. To me, if you were going to do it, it would have had to have been for a title now. Now, not just another singles match just for a feud. But then after that, we get some highlights of Andrade versus Rey. Rey said that he's coming for Andrade in the U.S. title, but he's also coming for Seth in the AOP. And he doesn't care who he has to fight, because he promises, no matter which of the three it is, he's going to stand tall. 619, booyaka booyaka. And a decent promo from Rey Mysterio. You can just see it in his face. Just, I feel like, I don't know if he was trying to like maybe sell like the injury. He's still kind of beat up a little bit, but he just seems like defeated. I don't know. Like, he cut this promo and it was decent, but I just feel bad for Rey Mysterio because he's one of my favorites. But we'll see where they go from here with him. I hope. It's hard for me to say. I want him to re-sign because to me, he's WWE, but if they're going to keep treating him like this, he might as well go somewhere else where he's, at least appreciated while he has a little bit of gas left in the tank. Then after that, we get Andrade. He comes out to. I don't really think it was to defend his U.S. title. It was just, a match against some jobber. Drop kick, stomps in the corner, double knees, goes for the hammerlock DDT, but Zelina tells him to do it on the outside. So Andrade flips over one of the mats on the outside, and before he can hit the hammerlock DDT on this loser, Ricochet comes out and, breaks this up, stop it. Ricochet's like, if you want to fight someone legit, you want to actually have a fight, why don't you pick a fight, like fight me. So this match starts. Ricochet takes over early on. Very nice fluid offense from Ricochet, springboard moves and all that stuff. Sends Andrade in the corner. Andrade drop kicks Ricochet while he attempts a springboard move. Zelina pulls back the floor mat again. Andrade beats down Ricochet. He tries to submit Ricochet, but he slips through and attempts a roll up. Hurricane Rana on Andrade. Ricochet hits a spinning dive into a moonsault on the outside. Andrade sends him into the barricade. He attempts the DDT on the floor, but Ricochet counters it with a back body, but he is back body dropped onto the concrete floor then. Then we come back after commercial. Andrade's wearing down Ricochet, Ricochet fights back with an enziguri. Drop kick knocks down Andrade. He hits a standing shooting star press for a 2 count. Andrade hits a back elbow for 2. Tries for the hammerlock DDT, but Ricochet counters into a roll-up. And then he slams down Andrade. And he goes to the top, but Zelina knocks him down. Andrade hits the hammerlock DDT, and done. So, a decent match. We had Ricochet come out. I don't know what this does, if, because Ricochet is, people like Humberto, all these guys, like, what are they doing? They come out, it's like you have all these guys feuding with Andrade. What are you going to do? Put them in a gauntlet match and then that chooses Andrade? Like, we've seen that. You tried to do the Rey Mysterio and you fucking ruined it. Gauntlet matches are ruined. All this stuff is ruined. I don't know why you have these guys just go out there, lose. I know we'd rather see Andrade beat guys like this than jobbers, but I don't know why you can't just do a feud. Like, why wasn't it the jobber and then Humberto comes out and saves him and then, you do something with that? That should be your money feud, not you just sacrifice Ricochet in here because, he's friends with Humberto or something? I don't understand that. So, then next week, Andrade, he will defend his U.S. title against Rey. I guess they're doing the rematch because, like I said, we didn't actually see the match to begin with because the rematch clause is supposed to be, non-existent anymore, so I don't understand that. But Zelina says, look at everyone Andrade has already beaten. And that's when she mentions, Ricochet, Humberto, this and that, all those other guys. She says Rey will lose again as well, and Andrade says that he is the U.S. champion. Now we get the thing everybody wanted, the thing that we waited all 2019 for, the segment that we wanted before we even knew that we wanted it. Bobby Lashley and Lana getting married. Here it was, folks. At this point, I wish I would have just turned off the television. It wasn't, I was thinking, at least I was happy this was only 15 minutes. So I thought. Of course, it had to have the run over. Any Raw that deserves the run over to make the main event match longer, so you're not rushing shit. They never do the overrun, the 15-minute overrun and extend it. Tonight, oh, of course, we'll overrun it. I'm surprised they didn't run the show till midnight. Give us 4 hours of Raw. So, Lashley comes out. He's walking out. They have all the seats set up. Normally, you would have family sitting there. There's nobody from the locker room sitting there because they hate these two. Lana then comes out. Like I said, all the chairs are empty. They have no friends. The ceremony begins. They awkwardly smile at each other. The ordained minister, priest, whatever he was. He mentions, he's going through the whole shtick. He mentions about them having kids together. Lana says, she's not having kids because she doesn't want to get fat like all these women in the crowd who are like fat and ugly and have children and, but they try to be like her. They never can. he kind of just ignores her, keeps reading, but the crowd chants Rusev Day. Lana screams, no, it's not Rusev Day. This isn't about him. They keep going through the ceremony. They read their vows. Lana says how lucky Bobby is because she's the greatest woman ever. She says, the greatest gift Bobby could give himself was her. She chants Lana Day, and the crowd boos her. She says it's all about her, blah, blah, blah. Same old shtick that we've heard all the time. Really cringy, that we come to expect. Like I said, this segment was just so bad up to this point, and it just seemed to drag on and on and on. Like, they couldn't get through it. I was like, where's Rusev? Just Machka kick one of these fools. Like, I am so done with this. Fortunately, we were nowhere near the end. So then she jumps on Bobby, and they start to kiss. He says how Bobby may now read his vows, and she's like, oh, it took me a while to write these vows for you, so... Like, Bobby didn't even write his own vows. So, like, there's just, like, little things in there. Like, I kind of laugh. Like, this is, like, not humorous. But, like, there's just tiny little things of, like, they make you, like, smirk. Like, this guy's such an idiot. Like, he's only here because there's, like, a hot white chick. Like, that's all he sees. He's like, yeah, like, she's just going to write my vows. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Sounds good. Like, he doesn't see any of the red flags. She interrupts him while he's reading his vows. He's not really far into it. She's like, yeah, sure, sounds good enough. She says it's all about her, Lana, Lana, Lana. And then he said this is the greatest moment in his career. And, like I said, Lana's just rushing through the ceremony. She just wants this to be done. Then the ordained priest, like I said, minister, I'm not sure what he was. He asked if anybody has a problem. Some dude comes out, and he's like, I was Lana's first husband. And the crowd at this point are chanting Jerry Springer, that was probably the best part of this whole segment. Crowd chanting Jerry Springer. Guy says that she left him for that son of a bitch Rusev, and then she left Rusev for this son of a bitch Bobby Lashley. Lashley hits him with a spine buster, like, dude, who are you to be talking to us like that? Get the hell out of here. Then out comes Liv Morgan. Why? Oh, I'm sorry. I messed it up. See, like, there's my whole thing. So some other chick comes out, blah, blah, blah. Same shtick. I was Lashley's first wife or whatever. Done. Then they get to it. Then, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Anybody else? Blonde chick comes out. Liv Morgan. No, like, music. She didn't come. It was nothing. It just came out. She's wearing, like, black, like, skirt, like, suit jacket. Came out. And I'll give my opinion. Let me just get through this segment because I'm so sick of this. I'm already trying to skip through it. So, like I said, she comes out. She says how Lashley says she never saw her in his life. And she said that she was in love with Lana. Lana starts crying, smacks Liv. They start brawling, fighting each other. I guess this is kind of ties into Total Divas. Liv Morgan was on Total Divas this past season, and I think they kind of became good friends on there, So I think that they were trying to tie in that. For the 12 people who watch Total Divas, good for you. Rope Break has way more viewers than Total Divas does. So, I don't know why they thought that this was a good storyline, but like I said, they start brawling, all this and that. And then Rusev, he comes out of the cake. He starts beating down Lashley. Machka kick. And then again, Liv Morgan starts brawling with Lana. Throwing it to the cake. This and that. Or I think actually they had it where Liv got like knocked down. And then they were standing there and she's like rushing. I'm like, all right, come on, let's just get married. No more interruptions. And then that's when the top of the fake cake opened up. Rusev came out. Machka kick, and then him and Liv kind of beat them down. But, that's how you have this show go off the air. The wedding, obviously we knew it wasn't going to go through. We knew the storyline was going to continue. Probably the match will be at WrestleMania. I could even see it being a mixed tag match between these two. So that's what you're going to have. You're going to have Liv Morgan. She was out for how long? Teased a new gimmick, all this and that. A lesbian angle. That's your big blow off. Again, and this is one of those things where I know sometimes you can't if you're in WWE and you don't have a lot of stock, someone like a Liv Morgan, and your boss tells you this is the storyline you're going to do, normally you're going to do it. But how do you not have a little more self-respect to be like, hey, I was going for how many months? Big return. There is some investment. You have a lot of people. It's not just the Liv Morgan marks, stands, all the the creepy, pathetic dudes on the internet who worship her. They had actual fans that were kind of intrigued, like, oh, this is a chance to redo her, rebuild her, give her a new gimmick, fresh coat of paint, actually something we're interested in. Instead, we got what we got, and it just wasn't. You might as well not have even brought her back. To me, this was such a waste. I was beyond pissed. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I said, I'm not that invested in Liv Morgan, but at least it was another woman you could have done something with in the women's division. Why couldn't you have her do the same shit that you had Natty do? Charlotte says, I want to prove that I'm the queen instead of just saying it. I want to prove it. I'm going to kick someone's ass right here, right now. Boom. New Liv Morgan comes out, goes 15 minutes, 12 minutes with Charlotte. Decent match. Obviously, you're still going to have Charlotte win, but at least Liv looks good. But it's like, oh, well, we don't want Liv to lose in her debut. Well, you know what? She fucking lost here. So she might as well not have even debuted. Even though it wasn't a match, and even though she beat down Lana, stood tall in the end, she lost. This was a definite loss. And know who else lost? All of us who sat there and watched this awful closing segment. So that was Monday Night Raw. Am I looking forward to next week? Yes, I am, because, the Andrade Rey Mysterio match should hopefully be legit. I hope they give those guys 15 minutes minimum. Tell a story. They probably won't, because it'll probably say we're going to end this storyline by really continuing another one. You're going to have AOP or Seth Rollins or somebody come out. They're going to fuck that match up. You're probably going to do some kind of 6-man tag or do something Randy Orton and the Street Profits versus the OC because they're not with the Viking Raider. You're going to do something where it's like, oh, so now you just replace the Viking Raiders, you just push them to the wayside because whatever, and now we have the Street Profits with Randy Orton. They're going to do something like that. And like I said, I am looking forward to it mostly just for Joe. Like I said, it was that other stuff, but as I was thinking about it, I just gave you reasons why WWE's going to fucking screw it up. But no matter what they do, Rope Break will be there. Watch the show, report it for you guys, and I just want to, speaking of you guys, just again want to thank all of you so much for all the support. You know where to find us on social media. We have all the links listed down below. We have more content coming for you guys. Even though it's New Year's, we never stop. We got Wrestle Kingdom coming up this weekend. Of course, we have Really's in an episode of NXT on Wednesday, but AEW Dynamite's going to have a decent show. Hopefully they, come back strong after, 2 weeks ago with the Dark Order beatdown, botch fest and everything. Hopefully they come back strong from that. Friday, of course, we have Smackdown. I don't care about Roman Reigns versus Dolph Ziggler today, New Year's Eve. I could care less about that match. I'm not even going to report on it. I'm sure Juan will post something on Facebook for you guys who are interested. But like I said, Wrestle Kingdom then this weekend. So just so much stuff coming up. And like we always say, wrestling never stops, and neither do we. So again, just want to thank all the new subscribers, new viewers, all the support we get. Thank you guys so much for everything. Now go out there, drink, enjoy your New Year's Eve, and most importantly, stay safe and have fun. Adaaaaaaa.